Rusty Brain Dump. So today I'm going to take you into a little more information about this machine that I purchased. Again, I'll tell you that this is the Bridgeport R2E3 Boss 8 CNC machine. It has this wonderful 1980s technology. As you can see here, this is the original control screen. It has the ability to jog with the little rotary thing here. It's got your emergency stop and it's got some other controls. Now, what I think is important for you to understand is that when I bought this machine, I was fully aware that the electronics on this do not work, and that I'm not even going to try to make them work. My goal is to replace all of these electronics with Linux CNC. So I'm going to, as we go through the process, I'll tell you more about that. But this is the old electronics. Now, another feature of this particular machine is that it's pneumatically controlled. So this is a pneumatic brake. Now, I took the cylinder off when I took the head apart, and so I haven't put it back on, partially because the pneumatics are missing. That's one of the pieces that is not in the machine. There's no pump. The tubing's still there, but there's no pump. So this was a pneumatic brake, and this is a pneumatic powered speed control. What it has is it has a very variable speed drive where there's two separate pulleys that can change in size to allow it to go faster or slower while the motor travels at a single speed at 60 hertz because it is a three-phase motor. So again, that's another thing that I need to replace. I'm going to probably put a VFD up there to control that motor, but that was the original system. It's kind of interesting, so I thought I'd share it. If you're watching this channel, you probably know about CNC machines, and you probably know something about Bridgeports. But I'm going to give you a little bit more information just in case. So this is a knee mill. And a knee mill means that down here we have what they call the knee. This is a CNC machine, which means it's controlled by a computer, but the knee itself is not controlled by a computer. It's controlled by a manual lever or knob, just like any other manual Bridgeport mill. But the x-axis, which is the table, the y-axis, which is on top of the knee, and the z-axis, which is the spindle, are all controlled by a computer. The travel on this machine is 18 inches in the x direction, 12 inches in the y direction, and 5 inches in the z direction. The knee gives you the ability to, though, have much larger items on the table because you can drop the knee down quite a bit and have quite a bit of additional area between the table and the z-axis. So these motors on here are 150 volt, 14 amp motors. They're really powerful motors, and this machine can mill wood, it can mill plastic, it can mill aluminum, it can mill steel. It can do pretty much anything that needs to be done. As I mentioned earlier, the motor on this machine is a three-phase motor, which means we need three-phase power. So the plug that's built for this comes in through here, 3 phases, and this is a 3-phase transformer. This is a big, beefy thing. It takes in anywhere from 220 volt 3-phase to like 460 volt 3-phase. And depending on how you wire it up, or you wire it up differently based on which voltages are coming in, what it puts out is 70 volts AC. Additionally, we have another transformer here. This one is used for putting out 115 volts to power the oil pump and the pneumatics and some external plugs and things like that for various things that are needed. Over here we have a 3-phase relay. This is used for turning on the spindle motor. Down here we have another transformer. I don't remember exactly what that transformer is used for, but it's also a single phase. Oh, this transformer in the middle is also single phase. As it turns out, the only thing on the machine that is actually 3-phase is the spindle motor. Everything else is single phase. Over here we have a overheat shut off. If it's starting to get too hot, it'll shut off the machine. And then down here is an important one that is the relay that turns on the drive system, the system that drives the 3 axes, X, Y, and Z. Down here in this lower section, we have another power converter. This takes that AC voltage and puts out 100 volts DC, because that's what the motors run off of, is 100 volt DC current. And then over on this side, we have some of the control electronics that are in addition to the stuff that was up on the front. And there's also some over on the side of the machine. So that's a general overview of what is in this machine. And the more I read and go into this, the more I realize I probably don't need any of it. So the last thing I'm going to share with you about this machine at this time is this panel here. And this is where all of the motor drives are, other than the spindle motor, but the 3 axes motors. Each one of these is a motor driver. Again, old technology, giant boards, and there's actually 4 slots here. Only 3 of them are used, and it's been my challenge to try to figure out how to control these. My hope is that these boards actually work and that I can use them and not have to replace them. So I've been studying the schematics and reading up on these drives. I have the manual for those drives, and I have the manual for this whole machine, and I have been going through the process of trying to understand what it is I have to do to drive the motors using these boards. And so that will be the topic of future videos.
Your brain has just been dumped. Subscribe for more.